Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm so excited to show you how to create a beautiful handmade Christmas card using the Postage Collage Poinsettia Stencils and dies from Waffle flower. If you love adding a personal touch to your holiday greetings, this project is perfect for you. I'll be walking you through each step, showing how to use these gorgeous stencils to create a stunning poinsettia design, and how to bring it all together with the coordinating dies. Whether you're new to card making or an experienced crafter, this tutorial is easy to follow and I'm sure you'll love the results. So grab your supplies and let's get started. We'll be using a variety of inks for this project. The ones I've chosen are Distress Oxide in Tumbled Glass, Distress Ink in Candied Apple and Mauve Lawn, Archival Ink in Carnation Red, and a touch of gold pigment ink from Recollections. Additionally, I'm using Distress Oxide in Faded Jeans, but this is optional and not required for the design. We'll also need a grip mat to keep everything in place, as well as gloves to avoid getting ink on your fingers. For the main design, we'll be using the poinsettia stencil from Waffle Flower, which comes as a set of 4 stencil pieces, as you can see in this video. Additionally, though not required, I've used the Postage Collage Stencil by Waffle Flower for the card base to add some extra detail. I would also be using the coordinating die. Starting with a sheet of white A4 cardstock, I'll trim it along the long side at 5.5 inches to prepare it for the coordinating die. After die cutting the piece, I use a finger protector and a paper piercer to carefully remove all the small pieces still attached to the die cut. Now, we place our die cut onto the grip mat and position stencil 1, which is labeled background. As you can see in the video, I'm aligning it with the stitched lines. I'll zoom in so you can better follow along with what I'm explaining. I recommend having an aluminum foil container ready to hold your stencils. Add some water and set it aside. Next, take an ink brush designated for your oxides, in this case, tumbled glass. Apply some ink to the brush and start applying it to your cardstock using circular motions. Apply as much ink as needed to cover all the blank spaces left by the stencil. Once you're done, carefully remove the stencil and place it in the aluminum container. Use tweezers to gently push it into the water so it can soak completely. Now, we'll use the second stencil labeled light. Once again, we align it carefully, making sure it lines up with the previous ink color, as I'm demonstrating. When we are satisfied with the alignment, we press the stencil firmly onto the grip mat.
Using carnation red ink and an ink blending tool, we'll apply the ink in circular motions to fill in the blank spaces left by the stencil. I'm also wearing gloves to prevent getting inky fingers. Once we're finished, we can place the stencil in the aluminum container. As you can see, this one is more stained than the previous one, so I'll use rubbing alcohol. I pour some alcohol into the container, gently move the stencil, and using tweezers, turn it over and press it down. I add more alcohol and repeat the process. Afterward, I remove the stencil from the container and place it on a cloth. Using a paper towel, I gently press to remove any excess alcohol and water. I then turn it over and dry the other side. If it's still stained, I return it to the container until it's completely clean. Sorry guys, but for some reason I didn't record the step with the third stencil labeled medium. However, what I did was align it to the cardstock just like we did with the previous one, and then I used a blender brush to apply candied apple ink. Next, we place a stain stencil into the container. Now, with the fourth stencil labeled leaves and centers, we position it onto the cardstock and press it down onto the grip mat. Using mowed lawn ink, gently apply it in circular motions. Be careful around the center pieces as we don't want them to turn green. Clean your stencil and place it back onto the grip mat. Using a small blending brush and gold pigment ink, gently apply the ink into the center pieces. I'll zoom in so you can see it more clearly. Optionally, you can apply some liquid adhesive to the centers and then place 3 gold half beads in a triangular arrangement, as I'm demonstrating here. Next, using the Gina K Merry Christmas and Shadow die cut the design onto white and red cardstock. Then apply it to your project. As I mentioned earlier, you can optionally use the Postage Collage Stencil using faded jeans and candied apple ink. You can achieve a vintage envelope style. If you prefer, you can substitute faded jeans ink for the mauve loan. Finally, apply your design to the card base and you're all set. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you and incorporate your suggestions. Thank you and happy crafting.